Hi folks, welcome to your mwis Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Now some changes are afoot in the weather pattern as we go forwards. After a very mild few days, some chillier conditions coming in across Britain through this weekend and some much colder conditions expected later on in the week. More about that in a moment. Before we get there, some high pressure will be around to give some dry weather for a change early on in the new week. Let's set things up then by looking through the freezing level for the week ahead, and starting off with this weekend we have a cold front then coming southwards and a lowering of freezing level through the daytime to around 900-1,000 metres across the Highlands by the end of the afternoon. That lowering of temperature will continue to spread southwards across Britain overnight into Sunday, and across the Highlands may drop sub-zero below 600 metres across many parts of the central Highlands, across the Cairngorms as well. It will lift that freezing level as we go through Sunday daytime, but not much above 800 metres, so most higher mountains of Britain will stay sub-zero through the daytime, a little bit higher, maybe just around some western coasts. Then it becomes a bit complicated early in the new week with some frost in the valleys and the glens and some freezing conditions on the higher tops for a time, although with almost slight inversion conditions setting up, it may just be that the higher mountains drift a degree or so above freezing point as we head onwards through Monday daytime. Almost in some places what we'd call isothermal conditions, where there isn't really a great deal of temperature change with height. That similar sort of trend will take us into Tuesday, where there are some clear skies, some frost overnight, temperatures typically around or maybe just above freezing point across many of the mountains. Then the next change comes in as we go through Wednesday, as the next cold front starts to advance in from the northwest, and that will eventually usher in some much colder air as we head towards the later part of the week. By the time we get through Thursday into Friday, sub-zero conditions looking more likely to lower elevations, perhaps even widely sub-zero above 400 to 600 metres across Scotland and 600 to 800 metres across England and Wales. And that cold pattern is likely to take us into next weekend as well. The synoptic chart for this Saturday sees that cold front coming southwards, then some rain on that for a time. That's spilling southwards into northern England as we go through the afternoon, only really turning up in Wales and the Peak District towards evening time. Following that front, then some brighter conditions for a time, but showers moving back in across the Highlands. It's a windy day, gales or even severe gales for a time, gusty around the front, and will strengthen again across northwest Scotland later on in the afternoon. Just to trace Saturday's rainfall sequence hour by hour, this taking you onwards through the morning, most of the rain across central and southern parts of the Highlands by the end of the morning and across the southern uplands through the middle of the day. That rain then turning up more persistently across the Lake District by early in the afternoon and setting in there for an hour or so. The front tending to break apart somewhat eventually, so any heavier rain fairly short-lived and likely clearing from the north across the lakes as the afternoon goes on, starting to turn up across North Wales. Just to run things on then, in 3-hour steps as we head through the night into Sunday, that front will clear away southwards. Showers of snow will follow across the Scottish mountains from the north, focused on areas exposed to the northerly wind, and that will be a similar trend onwards into Sunday. A scattering of showers coming down from the north, but also plenty of sunshine in the forecast and very clear air with that crisp northerly flow. That's how it looks on Sunday's chart. High pressure starting to build in from the west. Quite a windy day still across the mountains. Could still be gale force for periods through the day, tending to ease a bit across western Scotland with time. Just bear in mind then the significant wind chill factor we're exposed on the high tops, where an air temperature of around -1 or so will feel more like -15. We're exposed to the strongest of the winds. Into the new week, and high pressure just pushes a bit further in from the west. A weak warm front toppling around that high is responsible for the slight lift of temperature as we go into the next few days there. Most places then dry, fine, with a crisp start, some sunshine around during the daytime, with maybe just more in the way of clouds spilling in around the high across northern Scotland. So the northwest Highlands could be rather shrouded in with low cloud and some drizzly rain coming on, maybe some sleet or snow for a time across the higher tops. A generally dry story for most places across England, Wales and southwest Scotland. A good amount of sunshine and again very clear air will be around. Main question mark for Tuesday is just the extent of cloud across the country. Some inversion conditions may well be around in places where banks of low cloud shroud some of the hills, mainly around western coast in Scotland, where it could be rather extensive. Elsewhere could still be a good deal of sunshine. A bit hazy, a bit weak, maybe with some high cloud in there. Not a great deal of wind for many places. Northern Scotland just picking up on that stronger west by southwesterly flow. Heading onwards into Wednesday, and high pressure begins to weaken then across Britain. Still a rather quiet day across England and Wales, but a strengthening west by southwest wind across Scotland ahead of a cold front coming down from the northwest. That's that next change to colder air later in the week. Some rain coming on then across northwest Scotland, some snow across the Munros likely to develop with time. Still a degree of uncertainty just exactly how things pan out later in the week. Quite a rapidly evolving situation where high pressure gives way to a northerly flow through Wednesday into Thursday. We're going onwards in 24-hour steps on these charts. That's by midnight beginning Thursday as the northerly wind starts to develop again. Quite a strong zone of high pressure lies to the west of us. That will have a go at toppling back in again as we go Thursday into Friday. So still fairly dry conditions likely to be around, but a rather chilly picture expected. And then low pressure from Iceland is expected to develop and move near to Britain from the north late in the week and into the weekend. That then bringing generally cold and unsettled conditions with areas of showers, maybe some longer periods of snow across the mountains, even falling to low levels in places. Now, the snow distribution will really depend on the local wind directions. It's expected to be north or northwesterly, so it's those mountains facing in that direction that see the greatest of any snowfalls. We shall monitor the detail closely nearer to the time. Could be a very windy picture as well, a risk of gales, just depending exactly where the centre of the low is going to be. Expect then a wintry and unsettled weekend to come next weekend. High pressure to the west may eventually then start to build a bit further in as we go into the following week. That may just start to lift the temperatures then as we head into the final couple of days of November as low pressure and colder air gets taken further off into Scandinavia. Some uncertainty just exactly where the position of that high goes. If it does go further northwards, it could block out the Atlantic patterns for longer and we may stay under colder weather into the start of December. But many indications are sort of favouring a returning westerly type of pattern which could be quite stormy for a time at some point in the first week of December before high pressure then in the longer range shows itself as building further back across the country for something quieter as we go a bit further into the new month. We shall see how all of that unfolds. Stay up to date with your local details every day on our website. That's your Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.